How's it going, everybody? I have here over $400 worth of games here on the Switch, according to price charting. And yeah, so I have my top 10 physical Switch games that I have beaten this year, some of which I did start the year prior or even longer than that. But either way, these are my top 10 physical Switch games I have fully completed and beaten this year. I apologize for the drilling sound coming from outside. There's some people working on the pool out there, construction-wise. There's nothing I can do to prevent it, and there's no better time for me to record this as New Year's is fastly approaching, so I have pretty much only today to record this video. So yeah, I have my top 10 Switch games here that I've beaten this year. I'm going to talk a little bit about each one of them. I apologize for bumping into the camera there. I have them pretty much stacked up here in a tier list of from number 10 all the way to my number 1 game of 2024. And so we're going to start off with number 10, which is at the bottom of the list. Turnip Boy Commits Tax Evasion. I'm not going to lie. I really enjoyed this game, but it's very short. And it's very weird, if that makes sense. Shout out to my longtime viewer and one of my best friends, Captain Derpy, who's been a part of this channel for a pretty long time now, several years. And he gifted me this game. He said it was originally going for a lot of money, and then it finally plummeted in price, which is really cool. So you can buy this online now for like 20 to 30 bucks brand new, which is nice. It's about a 2 to 3 hour like adventure. If you can think about like Zelda type of game, but with a turnip, that's pretty much what it is. And you're ripping up tax documents, avoiding paying your taxes. It's quite funny and cheeky and a little goofy. I will admit the first like hour or so is a little bland and weird, but like the second major part of the game, like second half, gets really good. Give me a sec here. Realized there was some dust underneath the sticker there, so I basically paused the recording there. Anyway, I noticed that when I beat the game that it wasn't the true ending because I didn't rip all the tax documents. So the game actually gave me an option to go back and do some backtracking and finally rip all tax documents, which essentially unlocked the true final boss of the game. And I gotta say, it was really worth it. I really like this game. It's awesome. But it's at the bottom of the list because it's very, very short. I wish this was longer. I wish it had more depth to the story. It does get very dark very quickly. Surprising twists, I will say. Give it a chance, even if you're gonna pick it up and think, oh, this feels like a stupid mobile game or whatever. I gotta tell you guys, it's worth picking up. It's worth playing. You just gotta get past that first hour to an hour and a half. It's really, really good. If you're a first timer, it might take you 4 to 6 hours. I don't know. So give the first like hour or two a good chance. Anyway, that's Turnip Boy at number 10. Number 9, and again I beat it this year, so earlier this year. Number 9 would be Cat Quest, specifically Cat Quest 1. So I originally bought the Cat Quest Dual Pack. I forgot what it was called. But it's the one with both Cat Quest 1 and 2. I got it from a local GameStop for like 30 bucks. And then I won Cat Quest 3 in a giveaway from PM Studios, I think. I'll try to leave a link in the description below for my unboxing video so you can check that out. You can find it in that playlist. And so I eventually traded both away to get this trilogy pack, which has all 3 games on one cart. I like doing that because it saves room on the shelf with all the other games. So, but I'm going to more specifically focus on just the first Cat Quest game. I am pretty far in the second game now. I have beaten Cat Quest 1. Just think of like an overworld Zelda type of game. Think of like one of those Dragon Quest type maps, but you are pretty much fighting enemies in the overworld, like action-wise. There's no like random encounter type of thing that you're forced to run into them. You can actually run away from enemies if you want to. You don't have to fight them, and if they catch up to you, oh well. But it's like you can still run away from them. And yeah, it's all action-based. You can fight them physically and using magic spells and all. It's a really fun game. I would definitely recommend getting at least the first Cat Quest or the dual pack or even this triple pack that just came out and try it out for yourself. I really like these games so far. So yeah, Cat Quest 1, I did beat it. It ended abruptly, which is weird. I was kind of hoping for an actual like true ending, if that makes sense, or like an actual like satisfying ending, and it didn't give me that. It just ended like out of nowhere, which is weird. But I still recommend trying it out if you have been thinking about it or not. And number 8 on my list of games I've beaten this year, this one is actually probably the more recent game I've beaten this year, and that is Shantae, the original Shantae that was on the Game Boy Color, that is on the Nintendo Switch. I will say, playing this on the Nintendo Switch is way better of an experience than it is to play it on the original Game Boy Color. Just because of the fact that it has the Game Boy Advance enhanced version, which is really cool, so you can play either version that you want, and mainly the use of save states, which is really, really helpful, because with this game, you can only save by talking to a certain character throughout the world. The save states help tremendously, especially when you're fighting a difficult boss or fighting difficult enemies. The game can get pretty brutal pretty quickly. My cons with this game is the fact that like you have to be very specific with your timing with the D-pad presses, like button presses, in order to use your dance techniques. It gets really annoying when you unlock like fast travel for certain like levels or like areas that you need to fast travel to, and they could get much longer, more convoluted, and you mess up once, you have to do the thing all over again. It's really annoying. And it's very like cryptic at the very end on how to find out where Risky's hideout is. It doesn't really help you too much. The game flat out fucking lies to you. I know I'm cursing, I don't care, I curse on my channel, but it's like the game lies to you at a certain point. I think it's the second to the last or the last dungeon, and it'll straight up tell you to go the opposite direction than where you're supposed to go to. So I highly recommend looking up a walkthrough for this game before checking it out. It's a good game, it's fun, and I'm going to keep it for my collection. Will I play it again in the future? Yeah, but I really think this game should get the remake treatment, the remaster treatment, where it looks and feels and plays like newer modern Shantae games, like maybe like Shantae Half Genie Hero, where hopefully the dancing and the transformations would be a lot easier and overall more enjoyable to play. I hope they remake this game. It definitely needs it, because this is just a straight up port. But I still beat it this year. If I could beat it, you can too. It's definitely worth checking out. It's the original Game Boy Color experience, but on your Switch. Alright, so number 7. Excuse me. I have here Valis, the Phantasm Soldier Collection. I apologize if it's not focusing that much, and I apologize for my long nails there too. I need to clip them later. So more specifically, Valis 1, the very first Valis game. I actually beat it on the Nintendo Switch. I put it on number 7 because it's actually quite enjoyable. Like, I will not lie, it is very hard compared to the other games I just mentioned so far. But it is at number 7 on the list, higher than the other games, because it's challenging. It's actually fun, and it has really cool, fully animated cutscenes that are in Japanese with original, like, I'm talking 1980s type of, like, Japanese voice acting with subtitles. It feels like an anime with, like, a side-scrolling fighting game that you play as Valis, which is a female warrior. Really awesome. And me, who grew up with Xenoblade, Xena Princess Warrior, I really truly appreciate this game, especially this whole game collection that comes with the first 3 games, I believe. So yeah, I definitely recommend getting it if you can find it at a decent price physically, or any of these for that matter that are limited run, especially like Shantae here. So you can find this probably for way cheaper than the Valis game, I'm going to be honest. So I definitely recommend it if you like old-fashioned arcade type fighter games. and if you like sword fighting as well. So I can't really explain too much else, but yeah, it's just really good. I love this game. I actually beat the first one this year, as I mentioned. So at number 6, I picked, right above Valis, Space for the Unbound. This game is a mindfuck. It's also one of those games that will really pull at your heartstrings. To kind of give you an idea what the game's about, or at least to kind of give you an idea of what this game is, it's essentially like a visual, like an interactive visual novel in a way, where you have to solve puzzles throughout the game. There are some fighting, like arcade type fighting, which is interesting, and it's got some pretty interesting music too and interesting characters. I'm not gonna lie, for a good majority of this game, I had no idea what was going on, but the game does not disappoint when it finally reveals what's going on at the very end. It's very dark, and if you're coming from a place of like family abuse, you probably will not be able to play this game. Or if you're in a better place where you have been abused in the past and you're in a better place now, this may be a good game to pick up to kind of reflect on that past and realize how better off you have it now. Or if you've never had that experience, you might or might not appreciate this game. Either way, it's a very dark story, many twists at the end, and it's overall a phenomenal experience. Someone like me who has come from an abusive type of family, where I'm in a much better place now, I truly, truly appreciate what this game is. And I can't recommend it enough. So I did beat the game. I'm kind of disappointed that I didn't 100% it. But when I found out about certain things that are required to 100% it, it kind of makes me want to go back and play it again someday and finally 100% this game. It's not necessary to do so, but this is one of the few games that makes me want to do it. So right above that game at number 5, I had to pick Another Code Recollection. So if you don't know anything about Another Code Recollection, essentially this game used to go by another title, at least the first half of it. And it was originally on the Nintendo DS and it was called Trace Memory. And it was a puzzle game as well as a visual novel, and it still is, obviously. But they have remade this game from the ground up, including its Wii sequel that came out on the Wii and never was released in the US, which is weird that it never did get released in the US, but until now, obviously. So they essentially took the original DS game and the Wii sequel that was never released here, and they merged them into one game, and they actually kind of transition between each other very seamlessly. So you beat the first game, you're immediately going to the next game, like easily. It's almost like as if they merged them into one solid game. And I will say the first half, the trace memory part, definitely was my favorite part of the game. I did tear up at the ending part of that. Second part of the game, which is the sequel that never got released in the US, definitely is more convoluted and confusing and much deeper story. And it's essentially the character when she's a bit older by a year or two. I can't remember how many years it's been between the two games. And yeah, like I said, visual novel with heavy storytelling, 100% voice acting with every character. And there's much more to explore in the second game. And there's a lot of puzzles to solve, really cool. And I gotta say the second one felt a little less impactful to me because the story just felt that complicated to me. But as a whole, between the two games, playing them back to back, it was a great experience. I beat it myself. It's definitely worth picking up if you love visual novels. I'd say this is definitely one of the important Switch games that you should own as a Switch collector because it did poorly in sales, and I feel like this is going to be a future sleeper hits or hidden gem type of game. All right, we're getting pretty close here to the remaining games, or at least the end of the video. Not really, just somewhat halfway. But anyway, Persona 5 Royal is at number 4 because this game is phenomenal. I love the story, I love everything about it. I will say the biggest con about this game is the fact that it's very, very long. I'm talking about bare minimum first time player. You're not doing side missions. You're just trying to run through the game. You're trying to speed run as fast as you possibly can, but you've never played this game before. You're not paying attention to any of the side stuff. You're essentially going straight to bed as a high schooler, doing the main stuff. You don't care about anything. You don't care about developing relationships in this game. You're still going to probably fork over about 100 to 110 plus hours minimum on this game. And with all the extra stuff, you're probably going to look at maybe 130 plus hours, maybe, depending. I don't remember how many hours I've forked over in this game, but yeah, it's a very long game. It requires full commitment to it. And I mean, I've played it off and on, and I gave it like frequent breaks, and then I kept coming back to it. Honestly, you don't have to fully commit to like only playing this game all the time, but still, it is going to take you a long time to beat. I've beaten it myself, and I gotta say, it is definitely worth playing. It's got a new game plus, so when you play it a second time around, you'll be able to pick up on stuff you missed, like the optional dungeon that I completely missed my first run, so I definitely look forward to doing a new game plus in the future and finally tackling that optional dungeon that is very easy to miss. I would look it up if I were you. I'm not going to go too much into great detail here, but yeah, Persona 5 Royal, definitely worth picking up if you have been debating playing this game. Alright, last 3 games here. Number 3, right above Persona 5 Royal, I had to pick Crosscode. Crosscode is a phenomenal game. I've talked about this game a number of times on the channel, but to briefly explain it to you guys, it is an action RPG. And real quick before I continue with that, Persona 5 Royal is a turn-based RPG, and I know people may be turned off by that, but it does it really well. It's actually quite fun and interactive. I would still recommend trying this out, and yeah. There are plenty of videos I could talk about that. But anyway, Crosscode, action-based RPG game. Full story, heavy text, obviously. You got to read the text. There's no voice acting. But I got to say, the action alone, the challenges, especially the characters and the story are all amazing. And I got to say, I had my predictions as to what was going on in this game, and I was completely wrong, and I was actually quite happy with the results. It's got plenty of twists in this game. It's not too long. You're probably going to look around like maybe 30 plus hours of gameplay, which I think I roughly spent about 40 hours because I was grinding a lot. And the game also has DLC available digitally on the eShop that I was hesitating on getting at first, but I'm glad I actually bought it because, man, it opens up the world of this game even further, even more than the base game itself. This game as a whole is phenomenal. If you could think about like an MMORPG type style game without the online interaction, you're playing as these characters that are in an MMORPG within their world. So they're interacting amongst each other, talking about their real lives outside of the game every now and then, but you never actually get to see it. It's really cool. I don't want to spoil what's going on in this game, but you're playing as a main character who lost her memory. Yes, I mean, that's a common trope nowadays with, memory loss, but it's different because she also doesn't know how to speak. It's very weird. And I gotta say, the conclusion of this game and all the twists and everything was more than worth picking this game up. Originally, I saw it on Amazon for like $30, but now it's like harder to find and people are trying to sell it for more. If you can find Crosscode right now for a decent price, please pick it up. There are 2 different versions as far as I know. There's a all-white case one that's, I guess, like a more limited version of it. And this one is the ESRB version, which is supposed to be easier to find. But yeah, pick it up. Try to get it at a decent price. Even if you find it for like $50 or so, it is more than worth it. I highly doubt they're ever going to do a revision of this game with a DLC. I've reached out to them via Twix or Twitter X, and they never like responded or anything. So, but anyway, Crosscode is definitely at my number 3 spot. It is probably one of my top favorite games of all time. I do believe I beat that game earlier this year, if I'm not mistaken. All right, so at number 2, this is number 2 on the list, and right before number 1, so it's not the best game that I've played this year. But second to best, Ghost Trick. Speaking of Nintendo DS games, I played this back then on the Nintendo DS, and I never actually truly beaten it. And I'm really happy that they finally ported this over to the Nintendo Switch, because it finally gave me incentive to fully complete this game. And I gotta say, the story is phenomenal. The characters are amazing, music's great, and the gameplay is awesome. If I didn't say that earlier in the video, but either way, it essentially reworks the controls in a great way. Like going from touchscreen controls to actual button controls. I think you might be able to use the touchscreen. I haven't tested it myself to solve the puzzles. I don't know if you can do that portably, but I know for sure you can use your controller just fine, and it works perfectly. It's very puzzle heavy. If you like puzzle games and murder mysteries, look no further than this game. It's got amazing twists and turns. Yeah, it's just mind-boggling how amazing this game is. So yeah, I beat that finally on the Nintendo Switch. So we saved the best for last, and my number one game out of all these 10 games that I've played and beaten this year, my number 1 game of 2024, before going onward to 2025, is Sea of Stars for the Nintendo Switch. Yes. So I originally had the Japanese version of this when it first came out, and then when the IM 8-bit version released with a better looking case and just slipcover and all, I had to have it. And this is of course a newer revision, which is 001 on the back here. So that means it has a later patch, and I'm going and dropping it now. If you love Chrono Trigger and you love old-fashioned RPGs like that, turn-based and all, and you want to have a more modern, better experience than Chrono Trigger, yes, I said it, Sea of Stars is where you're going to want to be at. Especially right now, because this game's, I've seen it plenty of times on sale for like $30. Maybe even less. Get it while you can. This game, I can very well see becoming very rare and sought after in the future, and people just selling it for ridiculous prices in the aftermarket, because this is like the modern day Chrono Trigger in my opinion. It's way better. I experienced it earlier on at the beginning parts of the game, like where it was an earlier build of the game. Right now is a phenomenal time to get in here and play this game with the newest updates that have released, because they added a lot more stuff to this game, including local co-op. Right now, it's perfect time to get into this game. All that stuff is free to download. All you need to do is just buy the cartridge, put it in your Nintendo Switch, press the plus button, and search for an update, and it'll update for free with all those extra features, which is awesome. And yeah, this is the retail version. I really hope, because it is the retail version, the retail version is the same as this one. My specific one is not the retail version. This is the IM 8-bit version, but the retail version I've seen online looks exactly the same as this cartridge here. So get the retail version for like $30 or so, and I'm pretty sure someday they may do another revision with all the free updates, and if they do that, I'm definitely getting it. But yeah, Sea of Stars is definitely my number 1 game of 2024. Let me know what you guys think of this video, and let me know what your number 1 game of 2024 is, and if there's any games here that you really love that you think should be higher on the list. And subscribe. Hit the bell icon. All notifications, you'll be notified when I go live and upload, which is not often. And if you made it this far in the video, go ahead and comment below and leave me a moon emoji in representation of the moon on the Sea of Stars cartridge there. I'll heart your comment. It lets me know you made it to this point of the video. You can join my Discord in the description down below with the link invite. It's literally at the very top. You must be 18 years of age or older to join. Please read the rules and regulations on your way in. Don't join and try to sell me something or try to do a collab with me. Just join if you care about the channel and if you want to share memes and have fun. And be notified whenever I actually upload and go live. So anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. You guys are awesome. Stay safe. Be excellent to each other. Happy New Year. And may 2025 be your best year yet. Bye-bye, guys.